Bear is a quiet, unassuming romantic who has long been in love with his beautiful coworker, Nikki. He can't bring himself to confess his feelings, terrified she'll reject him and he'll lose even her friendship. Then fate seems to intervene. Bear wanders into an antique shop and buys a strange twig said to grant a single wish. He wishes that Nikki would love him more than anyone else in the world, and instantly gets exactly what he asked for. The only problem is that the price he'll have to pay is unimaginably high. Plenty of horror movies have explored the idea of be careful what you wish for. The first thing that comes to mind is, of course, the Wishmaster franchise, but the roots of this story go all the way back to William Jacobs' The Monkey's Paw, which also inspired Stephen King's Pet Sematary. That classic tale clearly influenced Curry Barker, the writer and director of Obsession, but his film heads in a somewhat different direction. Barker is certainly interested in terrifying the audience with the consequences of a reckless wish, but his greater concern seems to be exploring the nature of love, relationships, and emotional attachment, while expressing his own fear of losing himself, of dissolving into another person. Obsession became a major box office success, and that matters because the questions it raises clearly resonated far beyond Barker himself. He tapped into the anxieties of an entire generation of Gen Z viewers, self-focused individualists for whom personal boundaries and emotional self-awareness sit at the very foundation of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, while any form of codependency is seen as a threat to freedom and personal identity. And although Obsession has a straightforward horror premise in which Nikki gradually unravels into an obsessive psychopath, what happens between those bursts of violence is ultimately far more important. One of the film's most powerful ideas is Bear's growing realization that the woman now standing beside him has nothing in common with the Nikki he originally fell in love with. Most wish fulfillment stories stay focused on the person who made the wish, but Barker weaves a more delicate narrative. Bear finds himself trapped in a web of manipulation, threats, and emotional blackmail. Yet Barker also gives us a glimpse into Nikki's experience. After Bear's wish is granted, she changes, but her true personality never disappears. It is simply buried beneath the imposed one. The film's most heartbreaking scene comes when the real Nikki, taking advantage of the fact that her new personality is asleep, begs Bear to kill her. Barker was only 25 when he made Obsession. Before breaking into studio filmmaking, he built his career making amateur YouTube shorts, which means he learned his craft in constant conversation with his audience, responding to what they cared about and speaking their language. Obsession has everything: a solid genre framework, an inventive visual language filled with memorable imagery and unexpected irony, and a wealth of carefully scattered observations that strike a deeply personal chord. This isn't just an effective horror film, it's an important generational statement, a startlingly intimate and vulnerable meditation on the fear of losing yourself by dissolving into another person, both literally and metaphorically. It is as sincere as only a 25-year-old filmmaker can be,